Hey guys, I just thought I'd record a quick video today on how to prepare a fibre bat ready for spinning either on a wheel or drop spindle. I have these two fibre bats that I plan on spinning this week. We're into the final week of Tour de Fleece 2018 and I have two different plans, one for each of these bats, and I'll talk a little bit about different techniques you can use for different types of fibre bats as well. I have the ones I'm going to work with. I have this one, which is from Spin City UK, and this one I bought at EYF, and it's beautiful shades of blues and creams and silver. And I also have this fibre bat, which I got, this was a custom bat from Frost Yarn, and I will put the links down below. And I got this in January for my birthday, and it's a gradient bat running from a deep green through shades of green and silver and through to white. So I will show, as you can see, I'm getting a bit out of shot here. I'm struggling a little bit for angles of filming, but I'll see how I go. But it runs from the deep green there through to white in the centre that you can see there. So first things first, it's because these have a lot of sparkle, I'm going to put a piece of cardboard down on my rug. There we go. And I'm going to start off with the green gradient bat. Now, there are different ways to treat a bat depending on how many plies you're going to want your finished yarn to be. I'll just unfold this so you can see the full bat. And I will put it sparkly bits up. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make any adjustments I want to make to the bat, and I don't think there is any on this one. It's pretty evenly spread for where the sparkles are. There's no big huge clumps of sparkles in one spot. There's a lot of fire star in here. I'm just tease it out a wee bit. Other than that, I'll just spread that little dark streak a wee bit. Right. Okay, so if you're going to do a single ply yarn, you'll treat your bat different to if you were doing a 2-ply yarn, obviously. 3-ply yarn, it depends. If you were doing a chain plied or Navajo plied yarn, then I would just treat it the same way as if I was spinning a single in any case, because I would be spinning a single. Now this I'm going to be spinning as a single. In fact, I'm going to spin this as a coarse spun yarn. But if I was planning to spin this as a 2-ply, which I did with my previous gradient bat, what I would do is, if I'm going to buy a gradient bat, it's because I want to keep that colour on. So I would pull the bat apart roughly halfway through the middle. I would just get hold of one edge, get a rough idea where it is, and gently pull the fibres apart all the way down. I would then weigh each half the bat, and if one's slightly more than the other, which chances are good it will be, I will just decide, oh, well, there's a lot of green, so I would take the excess, an excess piece of green from one half of the bat and add it onto the green of the other end of the bat. Or you could do it at the other end, it wouldn't really matter. And just be aware that when you come to ply it, there might be a little more overlap where you transition from one colour to another when you come to ply the yarns together. If that doesn't bother you, then that's fine. I'm not sure of another more accurate way of doing it. I suppose what you could do would be to take sections of the bat, split it into pieces, and then fold it in half and get a more accurate idea of where the centre of each strip was to be able to separate them out into piles for each ply. Now I'm going to be doing because I'm keeping the colour on and I'm doing a coarse spun or a single, if you're applying a single, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zigzag tear it apart. So what I will do is take a thickness of about 1 inch, maybe 2 inch, and I will start to pull it apart all the way up to the other side. And when I get to almost at the other end, I'm going to stop, like so. Let's see if we're in shot. Yep. And then I'm going to start pulling the next strip whilst keeping that one still attached. So I'm going to start pulling it apart from the rest of the bat till almost at the end again. And then I'm going to stop and then work on tearing up the next strip. I do apologise for the tapping noise on the cardboard. Almost at the end, and I'm going to work back again. And I'm going to do this all the way across the bat. And what I'm going to start doing is wrapping from the end I've done just into a loose nest of fibre ready for spinning with. Okay, I've finished that now. I've wrapped it into one giant ball. But when I come to spin it, I'll probably take reasonable sections I can manage with, and then I'll spin that one, and then just keep tearing off chunks. But now they're all in the right order. Obviously if you were drop spinning, you'd want to take smaller sections at a time off your main bat. Now, one thing, if you were splitting your bat in half to do 2 plies, I would do exactly the same thing. I would just put one half to one side, take the other half and zigzag up that half. Obviously the lengths are going to be slightly shorter, but it won't matter when you come to spin with it. So that's that bat ready for spinning. Now I'll just make sure there's no green sparkles. I think it's just silver ones. And this one's got silver as well, so it doesn't matter. This bat, I'm going to work slightly different. I'm going to open it out again, and this one has more of the bitty bits on the inside. It must have been how I've refolded it. So let's have a look. I'm just going to check it over, see if there's anything I want to space out or spread out a little bit. Sometimes when you've got big chunks of silk and you're in the middle of spinning, it can, I mean, you can spin at the same diameter as the rest, but it can just throw off your spinning a wee bit. And where there's bits where there's a lot of Angelina in a big chunk like there, it can make the yarn in that bit section be purely Angelina. It can just be a little bit bristly. So I'm just going to spread those sparkles out a wee bit and disperse them a little bit. I don't think there's any other really large chunks of Angelina in this one. Okay, now this bat isn't a gradient bat, it's a multicoloured bat, and if it was one coloured bat I would treat it the same. So I don't need to keep the colour runs clean like I did with the other one. This one is going to be a 2-ply, but I actually had 2 bats the same, and I've already spun one of those onto a bobbin, so this just wants spinning as a single. But if I was spinning this as a 2-ply, you've got, again, a couple of options. You could split it. I'll turn this round so it was the same way as the gradient bat. So we've got the fibres running this way. I could split it in half the same way if you were doing a 2-ply on the gradient, or you can split it in half the other way. It doesn't matter if you don't mind the colours in one half plying against the colours in the other half, which in this it wouldn't matter because there are pieces of turquoise here and there's turquoise in there, so it wouldn't matter so much. Some people, when they spin a batt such as this, will just tear off a big section, whether by personal preference, it could be a 4-inch section, it could be half the batt, it wouldn't matter, and then they will hold, it will hold the whole half of the batt or 4-inch section or whatever length they're doing, and they will spin across the end. So they'll just spin back and forth across the end of that section, whether that be half a batt, whether that be a 4-inch section or whatever, it doesn't really matter. You could also do what I did with the previous one, which is to zigzag tear it into basically a long strip of roving. Not exactly roving, but treat it like a long strip of roving, and that is another way of doing it as well. The first batt that I did in this colourway, all I did was I tore off sort of 2-inch pieces off the end and used them as they came off the batt, and I spun a little bit across the end of the section to keep some of the colour clean, because if you were to tear off, say, a 4-inch chunk and drag it out like roving, you're going to blend all those colours together into kind of, not murky, because these are all quite, well, they'll just blend into a pale blue really, like mixing up paint. But if your art batt was, say, I don't know, orange and blue, different bits of orange and blue, and if you were to do that and drag them out and mix orange and blue together, you're going to get quite a murky yarn, which might be what you want. You might want quite a subtle yarn that occasionally the fibres will spin together and you'll get pops of orange and blue, which is perfectly fine. If you want to keep the colours more clean, you can spin across the section, across the end of whatever size section that you have. So that's kind of what I did with the previous batt. This one, what should I do? Because I'm spinning it as a single, I can treat it really how I want, but because I already have a batt the same and I'm going to be applying them together, I'm not too worried about how I section it, so long as when I come to spin it, I don't mix up the fibres too much. I'd like to keep some runs of the colour. So what I'm going to do, I think, decisions. I think I may, I think I might make it into another zigzag. And then when I come to spin it, I've got the choice then. I can keep longer runs of colour when I'm spinning it. But I'm going to zigzag this probably with thicker chunks or thin. I'll do thinner chunks. That way I can keep some of that pale green there, some of that turquoise there, and it won't be all in one section. So that's what I'm about to do. Oh, another thing, if you like, if you want to spin a woolen style yarn, you could roll your batt up that way and draw it out from the end and spin from the end and make more of a woolen style. That's just a point to note, but I'm not going to do that. And there we go, 2 batts ready for spinning up. This one's for today. That one hopefully I'll get started tomorrow, and I'll have some beautiful yarn at the end of the day. And if you have any other questions and things I might have missed, just comment down below and I can answer questions down there. And if this was useful, feel free to like, subscribe and so on and so forth. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.